Hi, welcome to Health Talk. I'm Health Talk with Dr. Akram. I'm Akram. In this program, we'll be talking about all kind of different health issues with different experts in the field. But today we're going to talk something really important. This is diet. What is the best diet for you? There are hundreds of diets. If you Google, there are lots of them there. But it's quite difficult to find what you like. From my search, I found there's something called keto diet, low carb diet, intermittent fasting, vegan, Atkins, paleo, paleo, Weight Watchers, Slimming World, and meal replacement shakes. What are you going to choose? I think it's a difficult choice. That's why I thought I'll bring some specialists here, and they have gone through themselves in this big search, and they have found some success. And we're going to talk all about diet and how you can reduce your weight. And this is the best time because we had Christmas, we had New Year, lots of parties. I think we have enjoyed, we put on a little bit of weight, time to get rid of it. And how we can get rid of it, and that's what we're going to talk today. And today we have in our show two specialists, Dr. Raisa Islam. She's a doctor working in trauma and orthopedics, and Ms. Damini Lalchan, who is a PhD student in psychology. And they both had lost immense amount of weight. And I think you must be really eager to listen to them and see what they say. Welcome to the show anyway. Anyway, Raisa, thank you very much for being in our show.
Thank you for having me.
Damini.
Thank you for having me once again.
Excellent, guys. How are you feeling today?
A bit nervous to talk about because usually I don't really talk about the weight loss.
The weight loss.
So, a bit nervous, but excited to share, and I hope it helps some people.
It's fine. You're doing really well.
Thank you.
And people already loving you. They're sending out messages. They're going to call us soon, right?
Okay.
How are you feeling, Damini?
Well, about this, a little nervous, but positive overall.
By the time we start the show, you're going to fly through, girls. Don't worry.
Oh, let's hope.
It's very easy. Okay, let's talk about you. What do you do?
So I'm currently a doctor at the Prince Alexandra Hospital, and I work in trauma and orthopedics, which is, in my opinion, the best specialty. I really enjoy it. Speaking of working in a hospital, got my COVID vaccine.
You had your COVID vaccine.
First
Tell
dose.
about it.
It was quite quick, quite simple. I didn't have any of the strange side effects that some people are getting. But I've just got a bit of a sore arm. Other than that, I'm just excited to not be quite as worried.
And you're feeling okay? Fantastic.
Feeling great.
And you're doing our show.
Yeah.
Excellent. Damini, come on. You need to talk about, everybody is really interested in and what you do with this research. What PhD in psychology?
So I am a PhD student at the University of Hertfordshire, and I do a lot of research around migrational mental health, specifically with the South Asian diaspora. So that's really what I do. Apart from that, I have a blog called The Coping Club. So we talk a lot about mental health in general, and
What is it called again?
The Coping Club.
The Coping Club.
Yeah, we started.
Why is that name Coping Club?
I think we started it mainly because, the pandemic has been a bit too stressful for all of us, really. So I think we all have been trying to cope and thrive as human beings, and that is the reason why we called it the Coping Club.
So what can they find in your blog?
Okay, so good advice on nutrition, because we have a registered nutritionist who works with us. We have a couple of medical students, so debunking a lot of medical myths, and things about mental health, which is written by me, and also a lot of resources on women's health.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well done. Okay, good.
Thank you.
This show is quite important for you both, isn't it? It's quite close to your heart. Even though you both are in different fields, you're not experts in the field,
Not at all.
but you are expert in what you did, and it worked for you both.
Yeah.
Raisa, how much weight you lost in what period?
So from January 2018, I just finally found a diet that actually worked for me, and it was sort of going keto with intermittent fasting, because suddenly I was able to lose a lot of weight very quickly, which I found very motivating.
And how much were you before you started?
I was about 68, 69 kilos at my
69
heaviest.
kilos.
Yeah. And then at my lowest, sort of sticking to it, I got down to about 53, 52 kilos.
So that must be kind of right weight for you, isn't it?
Probably, as in finally not overweight, but
Okay.
completely healthy.
Before we go into more detail, how come you continue this diet? What is at any point you, as a click to you, this is the diet for you?
For me, so I don't really like carbohydrates that much. I don't have a sweet tooth, even though Asian culture, like I think our desserts are amazing. So for me, when someone told me, oh, here's a diet where you can eat as much like cheese and meat and fish and eggs as you want, and you'll feel more full and you'll still lose weight at the same time, I was just like, yes, let me try this. I can do this.
How much did you lose in first week?
In the first week, I dropped 4 kilos, and that
4 kilos you
initial,
dropped
like sudden 4 kilos of weight loss. Even if people are like it's just water weight, even if it is water weight, that's a really good motivation to keep going. If you
keep
drop
going.
4 kilos like that.
Damini, how much did you lose?
Well, I started with around 130 kilos.
You were 130 kilos
Yeah.
in that body.
Yep.
Oh, right, okay.
I know, it's a bit shocking, but I started in 2017 September, right after my graduation, and then I became like 72 kilos, so over 50 kilos of weight
So you
loss.
lost all 50 kilos.
Yeah. Yeah,
That-
and still going.
And
going
still
on.
going, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's not happened suddenly, but you have to take it
Absolutely not.
with some time, yeah?
Yeah, so even if you lose half a kilo, or even if it's less than half a kilo, that's still a loss and you've got to accept it. Or even if you don't lose anything on that particular week, it's fine, you know, you just got to go full throttle and it's good, I think. So yeah, it was hard work, it was difficult, but I tried to stick through it despite of trying everything out there.
Anyway, this is a live program, so if you have any questions or suggestions, you can call us on 0203 515 5788, or you can write to us healthtalk@intv.co.uk, and you can follow us on our Facebook link, Health Talk with Iron Health Talk with Dr. Akram, or you could follow us on our YouTube link, Health Talk with Dr. Akram. Let's go back to the subject. Okay. So we talked about how much weight you guys lost. Okay. Are there any magic diet, the best diet you can tell our viewers?
What do you think?
Okay. We're going to join a caller already. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead. Welcome to Iron Health Talk. I think there's a small child there.
Oh, yeah.
This small child shouldn't be on a diet.
Yeah, no.
No.
No diet for children.
don't recommend a
okay.
diet
I think
for a
the
baby.
caller probably, doesn't have anyone to leave the child, and I bet she will come back to us anyway. Until then, let's talk about, are there any magic diet?
No?
No.
There's no magic diet, is
No.
it?
No. I think the magic is in you. So it's all about how you decide to go forward with this journey. It's very difficult, but you've got to be resilient. You've got to push through, because, you know, when you, as Raisa said, that when she started a diet, she obviously lost 4 kilos in the first week. But it's not going to happen in the second week. It's not going to happen in the third week. You know, you're never going to lose anything. But still, people think that, well, after the third week, if I haven't lost anything, well, this diet is not working for me, which is wrong. It's, in fact, in my opinion, it's great if you haven't put on any weight or if you haven't lost anything. That's good. and maybe in the fifth week you will lose something.
So you need to be consistent
Very
and
consistent.
keep doing it. Take a right diet and do it right, and keep doing it.
Consistent, resilient, and also you've got to understand that it's not an instantaneous process.
There are lots of videos in YouTube. It says, okay, you can lose this much of weight in 1 week. You can lose the next week. That doesn't work, isn't it? Most generally, people.
I think anything that promises that you will definitely lose a certain amount of weight by doing a certain set thing or eating in a certain way, you can't really rely on that just based off the fact that they're giving those promised results, because everyone's different, every body is different. We were speaking, and even we've tried the same things and they worked out very differently for both of us.
Yeah, that's really important. That's why I will talk more about it, because you both tried same thing and it didn't work similar, isn't it? Because the body is different, the food is different, the genetics is different.
Absolutely.
So you have to choose what is best for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. What made you guys think that you needed to lose weight?
For me, I'll be honest, I wish that I had some sort of deep internal motivation, but for me it was just the clothes that I wanted to wear did not look the way that I wanted them to look on me. So I decided, okay, well, if I want them to look that way, I feel like I need to be thinner. And it just gave me a lot more confidence, because I finally felt like I looked the way that I wanted to. And I'm not saying that that's a good motivator, or that should be everyone's motivation, but I think a lot of people will probably relate to that exact feeling of like, I just want to look better so I'll feel better about myself, as opposed to the more noble sort of health-related reasons.
By losing weight, do you feel ease? Do you feel your movements are easy, walking around? Do you feel anything different?
I mean, I feel like I have a lot more energy when I'm on keto, and I don't know, I think maybe because I'm more confident, I feel as though I enjoy myself a lot more, but then I don't know how much of that is weight loss and how much of that is a mental sort of link that I've created myself.
Damini, so have you been slim in your life, or you've been like in slightly higher weight all your life? How come? What made you decide that you suddenly thought, okay, I'm going to go for a diet, I'm going to lose some weight?
Well, to be very honest, I have been a chubby child all my life, and I grew up being bullied about my weight, about how I looked and everything. So it was that's how it really was for me growing up. But also it's the fact that I really wanted to dress up, look good, and I felt that if I looked a certain way, it would help me with my career. It would help me in terms of my health, because I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, so being overweight can be extremely detrimental for me. So I had to lose all that weight. I had absolutely no choice, really.
Thank you very much. We're going to talk more about it. Before that, we're reaching for our time for a short break. Anyway, if anybody joining the program today, we're talking about what is the best diet for you. And we have two specialists who had gone through this, and they're going to talk all about their experience. So be with us, and we're going to see you shortly after the break. Hi, welcome back to Iron Health Talk with Dr. Akram. Today we are talking about what is the best diet for you. So talking about diet. If anyone joined, so far we have discussed the basic things about diet, and we have two experts who had gone through the diet process themselves is Dr. Raisa Islam and Miss Damini Lalchand. And let's go back to Damini. Damini, there is a taboo in the community, and people call fat girl and all these things. How do you feel about? Did you go through these things?
Most certainly. I grew up with this whole fat shaming sort of life. I've been fat shamed at school, by my family, friends, just name it. I've always been called the words moti, which means fat in Hindi, or, name it. I've always been called that. Or I've been called a baby elephant, which is really rude, but people don't understand that it hits the emotions. And the fact that, while growing up, I've always been restricted of certain foods, like, I can't have a packet of crisps, I can't have chocolate, I can't enjoy certain foods, which is a bit, sad growing up. But, it was difficult for me. Like, my mom used to put me into different sorts of diets, like Atkins, meal replacement shakes, and all those sorts of things. So when you're deprived of certain food, right, you go back into that pit of overeating, and that's really what happened to me. I found comfort from all this bullying with my food, but it was the same food that was harming me. So
you were finding comfort with food?
Yeah, precisely. I was finding all my comfort with that food.
So is that something to get the anger or whatever going on outside, or is it all just in your mind? So you never thought?
It wasn't.
It's a craving in your.
It's a craving. It's not even the anger or anything. It's just like you get upset, right? And you just, there is research that suggests that. If you go have a piece of chocolate, it increases your dopamines, and dopamine is known to, it's called the happy hormone. It increases your happiness, or your serotonin levels go up, and that's also what chocolates promote. So me going and reaching out to a chocolate just comforted me, and it's just that it's linked to the whole neurochemistry of your brain, and there was nothing that could be done in that sense. But also, like, the fact that people don't understand the struggles of losing weight, because whenever you walk to a family function as a South Asian, you would have people being like, well, you need to lose weight. They never ask you, and never ever have they asked you, how are you? You're always viewed as this fat girl.
Fat girl.
Yeah. And despite of having lost all this weight, I still feel there's a small element of that fat girl that exists in me. I think no one can take that away from me. Yeah, because I've always been fat. I've been fat since the age of 2. So, no one can.
That's really important. That you've been fat since like age of 2.
Yeah. And why I lost my weight was because I have a diagnosis of PCOS, as I've previously mentioned. And also, I kind of got my senses when I was shopping for my graduation dress, and I couldn't find a really good dress for my graduation. And now I would have people saying that, well, you are, talking against fat girls or people who are plus size. No, I'm not against you. Well, I've been chubby all my life. I've been a plus size girl all my life. So I'm not against that, but I wanted to look good on those pictures. I felt like I had a low self-esteem on the biggest day of my life. So it was uncomfortable, really.
So is that the point you thought that you wanted to lose weight?
It was that, and also it was affecting my, the rapport I had with a lot of my colleagues. Professionally, especially because I am training to become a research psychologist, and the sad part about pursuing a career in psychology is you're often judged, really.
Right.
I think it's just because we know a lot too much about the mind, and then we start judging people from how they look, how they behave, because we just keep decoding a lot of things. So yeah, I had to present myself a certain way just to assert value in my field, and the the sad part is you may be cognitively blessed, but if you don't have the physical aspect, people don't really respect you in the field, and that was also one of the reasons why I had to lose weight.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is interesting because you proved that you could lose weight. But generally, I can remember, my Iranian friends at school, they used to say, stomach is like something like your socks.
Yeah.
The more you put in, the bigger it becomes. If you take out, it shrinks.
Yeah.
So if you eat more, the stomach can accommodate more.
Yeah.
If you don't eat much, your stomach shrinks. And when you fill up the stomach, if it's big or small, that's the time your hunger stops there, isn't it?
That's
The
right.
fullness goes to your brain. It says, okay, you don't need to eat any more food. So if you keep eating more and more, your stomach is big, you won't eat more.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the things.
That's probably one of the things, but it's also the fact is that I had a small appetite growing up. I don't, people may assume that I was fat, so I would eat a lot, but no, I don't generally eat a lot. I eat, in fact, lesser than a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Yeah, so which is now again very contradictory.
There's another one is the metabolism.
Yes, so
Everybody is different, isn't it? Some
Correct.
people are fast, they have the fast metabolism. They break down anything, they can eat anything, they are slim all their lives, isn't it?
correct.
Lucky.
So in my case, I think it's just that because I'm half Northwestern Indian, so my father's family are from Sindh, and generally people from Sindh and Punjab regions, they are on the bigger side. It is-
Punjab.
yeah, so they generally are on the bigger side, and it's genetics again. So I think maybe my family metabolism isn't so great on my paternal side. I think I haven't taken any bits from my maternal side in terms of my physical aspects, but yeah.
That's the other aspect, isn't it? Because our genetics being used to
Correct.
starve in our ancestors' time.
That's right.
Because the food was not easily available.
That's right.
So our genetics got used to that kind of lifestyle. So whenever it had food, it thinks, wow,
Yeah.
I need to save now. Because never know, the genetics doesn't know that you might get food again. But now food is plenty available. So people can find food anytime. So, but genetics still not adjusted to it. That's why
Yeah.
the obesity and diabetes is really rampant in South Asia now.
That's
India
right.
is going to be the highest the diabetic patients living in the country in the world soon.
I wouldn't be surprised
Yeah.
about that because food is readily available, as you very well pointed out, but also the fact that, when you're talking about food, you have all this readily available food, and now they are called fast food.
Fast food.
And because life is
And
busy,
that's got high calories, isn't it? It's
absolutely high calories, completely dangerous for yourself. I know it is easy to get access to them. They are quite affordable when you look at it. But the other issue is that, you can't look at convenience at the cost of your health in the long run. It may be convenient it may save you time, that going out and buying yourself a burrito may probably save you some time. It may save you 15-20 minutes of your time, but going down the line, it's going to cut down that time from your life.
crisps got a lot of sugar and salt as well. And it's-
Absolutely, and I'm really against those meal deals, if I'm being very honest.
Meal deal, yeah, that's
I
right.
hate them.
Exactly. So you get a sandwich
Yeah,
and you get a Coke
yeah.
and you get a crisp. That's kind of a lunch, isn't it? Like office lunch.
Quintessential British lunch.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Riza, okay.
Yes, hello.
What worked for you? What kind of diet and why?
So for me, I needed a diet that I would stick to, which meant something that worked for weight loss and something that I could maintain in the long run. So like I said, keto gave me access to the foods that I enjoyed anyway. And the things that it told me to restrict were things that I was kind of okay with restricting.
Okay. In keto diet, what can you eat?
So it's very low carb. While I was losing weight,
So
I
very low carbohydrate.
very low
you can't eat bread, you can't
carbohydrates.
eat rice, you can't
No.
eat non-bread,
No.
all these things.
There are
Okay.
cauliflower equivalents to all of the above. And so I would not recommend this if you don't like cauliflower because,
So what can you eat? Meat?
yes.
Any amount of meat?
So not any amount of meat. So the breakdown of my the macronutrients in my diet were, I think it was 80% fat, 15% protein in order to hit my daily goal of protein that my body needed, and then 5% carbohydrate, which equated to just under 20 grams of carbohydrates a day. And in addition to that, I was doing intermittent fasting to allow my body to
So
switch
you're doing
over.
a keto diet and
Yeah.
intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Let's explain about keto diet. Like,
Okay.
what can you eat in meat? Like, how many grams of meat? How much?
It varies for each different person. So someone who's
For you, how much?
for me, how much was I eating? I think about 80,
Half a
80
chicken?
grams a day. No, much more than that because you have to have something to eat the fat with. It's mostly just you need to hit an acceptable amount of protein to not start breaking down your own muscles.
On your yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and fat helps to keep you satiated in keto because you have your own
When you
body
mean fat,
store of fat.
what do you mean? Like,
So for me,
what are
I
the
use things like ghee, butter, certain types of oil, so like avocado oil,
Yep.
anything that essentially most
so generally
diets would
people
tell
say
you.
ghee is not healthy, but
No,
for
no,
this
no.
diet
Ghee
it
is
works.
great. Ghee is great. If you like ghee, keto might be for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just all of the food that you're generally told don't eat too much, and like eggs with the yolk, like the best bit of the egg. Everything that I'd grown up thinking, oh no, this is bad for you. Because if you think about the food pyramid, whereas fat, it's like that little bit at the top, and the bottom is all carbohydrate. Whereas they've seen that actually diabetes, obesity, all of these metabolic syndromes have actually skyrocketed as that food pyramid's been introduced with the suggestion that carbohydrates are bad for you and carbohydrates are good for you,
Good for
fats
you.
are bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas if you look back in historical textbooks, for example, it will say that if you want to gain weight, eat pasta, eat rice, eat bread.
That's interesting.
And that only changed with the introduction of the food pyramid in the 60s maybe?
60s.
Yeah. And since then, if you think about the diseases that have gone up, diabetes,
Yeah, it's
hypertension,
exactly
obesity,
that's the
metabolic
time
syndrome.
the diabetes and everything went up, isn't it?
Yeah. And obviously, correlation may not always be causation, but facts were deliberately manipulated at the time to make you think that fats are bad and carbs are good when
Carbs are good.
it's not necessarily the case.
Because that's the time we have started producing more potatoes, and then agriculture has started developing a lot, and probably it's all to do with that time, isn't it? 1960s, 70s.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, so where can they find a keto diet?
So, for me, there was a lot of research, like online research involved. There are now so many resources on keto. And the thing is,
Are there any website they can find?
YouTube has some great information.
YouTube has them.
Yeah, I think YouTube is probably the best
if you
one.
watch YouTube and you could choose how much you need for you as well?
There, I would look into the macronutrients required. In particular, I think that one of the mistakes I made initially was not eating enough protein. I found my energy flagging, not eating, I ate a lot of vegetables, so I was okay on that side. But the headaches that you can sometimes get, so I discovered things like adding electrolytes and salt into my water.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about it. Until then, today we are talking about what is the best diet for you. So we have started explaining about keto diet. This is like high protein diet, and you don't take too much carbohydrate like rice, bread, things like that. But we're going to see you after a short break. Until then, look after yourself. Hi, welcome back to Iron Health Talk with Dr. Akram. Today we're talking about what is the best diet for you. So far we talked with our two specialists on the field, Dr. Raisa Islam and Ms. Damini Lalchan, and they are giving their expertise, what have they gone through and how they felt about it. Okay, let's go back to Raisa. Raisa, we're talking about keto diet, pros and cons. What are the pros and what are the cons?
So the biggest pros for me were the fact that I could eat until I was full. So
you could eat
felt
until you're full?
Yeah, I had a really big problem with getting really, really hungry at night. So if I was on calorie restrictive diets or just anything that I tried, I'd be so good until like 7, 8 o'clock, and then the hunger would kick in. And so by 10 to midnight, that's it. The fridge is raided. Anything in there is gone because I've eaten it.
How does it work?
So keto essentially switches your body from using glucose as its primary energy source to being able to use the ketones released from fat. So your body will always prioritize carbohydrates as a fuel source. With keto, you eat very limited carbohydrates so that you burn through that energy very quickly, and then your body switches to using fat. So the pros are that because you have your own supplies of fat, when your body is fat adapted and you start to utilize fat as an energy source, it's so much longer and slow releasing.
So this fat's being used for your breathing, talking, walking, doing your natural things, isn't it?
Yeah. And
exactly.
So, it made me feel really good when I was completely in ketosis. I felt like I had a lot more energy, and again, by some chance, it just made me not hungry overnight. I was able to do my intermittent fasting, which obviously also prolongs the amount of time that your body's in ketosis before you give it even minimal carbohydrates to knock you out of it.
Okay, let's go back to, have you had any side effects quickly?
I lost a lot of hair, which was, that was devastating. But it came back. It came back. But initially, that was terrifying as a fellow woman. I'm sure you can relate. You're just like, what is this? It's all you can think about.
Yeah.
I realised I was quite depleted in a lot of nutrients. So when I started incorporating those back, taking supplements, it came back.
That's a good point. So if they go for keto diet, they have to look into these nutrients as well.
Yeah. Before starting keto, there's a lot of research that you have to do because it is so different to the types of diet that we're told about, especially if you're diabetic or if you have any other sort of key medical conditions. I particularly worry about people with diabetes because obviously it affects insulin if you're not having carbohydrates. So you definitely need to look into that, maybe speak to your doctor if you're considering starting it.
Excellent. Let's talk about intermittent fasting. It's quite interesting. It's very easy to do. And I have done a special YouTube program as well on that. If anybody is interested, you could go to Health Talk with Dr. Akram YouTube channel and you can watch it before we start. Okay, let's explain a little bit about this intermittent fasting.
Okay, so intermittent fasting, there are different types of intermittent fasting. So there are forms where you only have a specific eating window. So you have a few hours in the day where you are able to eat. And then for, say, 16 to 18, some people even do, say, the whole, 20 hours.
16 hours you can eat?
No, 8 hours you can eat.
8 hours you can eat. Okay, that's fine.
16, you're fasted. It gives your body time to start burning fat instead of glucose.
So what time is the best time to start this fasting?
It depends on your lifestyle. Again, like we were saying before, diets vary person to person. Yeah. I personally prefer to set my window so that I could still go out for meals with my friends. This was pre-lockdowns. I set it so that my final meal would be between 8 and 10.
Oh, so you could go out
so I could go and still eat with my friends.
Yeah.
Or have dinner with my family. So for me, it worked better to have that window later on.
So you would fast after 10 o'clock, let's say.
Yeah. So say if I had something.
Then from there, another 16 hours.
Yeah. 16 to sometimes I would just stay fasted throughout work, and because you can still have things like black coffee, tea of anything.
Tea, coffee, water.
Yeah. Anything that isn't going to cause an insulin spike essentially.
Milk is not allowed, sugar
No,
is not
you
allowed.
can't have milk, of course. You can't have sugar. You can, if you're doing keto, sometimes put a little bit of cream into your coffee if you really can't tolerate black coffee. I got really.
But they really
iced
advise you to
coffee.
drink a lot of water as well.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is 8 hours you can eat during a 24-hour cycle. The 16 hours you fast, right? So this one you could either. It depends your habit. You could start from 8 o'clock in the night to when it comes to about 12 o'clock.
It's lunchtime.
So you are missing just your breakfast. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. Basically.
You can have your tea, you can have your coffee, you can have everything else. Yeah, I do this quite often on weekends, but it works very well, easy, isn't it? You have done this as well, isn't it?
I do it, and I think it's quite easy on the body, especially on the gut, when you think about it, because and given now that we're all at home, you tend to reach out to the food in your food cupboard, really. So just to give that tummy of yours some rest,
Some rest.
And it's good. I personally think, like, I skip breakfast and I have like my lunch and dinner.
Do you like to feel hungry? I have the kick, when I feel that
don't.
hungry. Do you feel happy?
I don't really feel happy when I'm hungry.
I enjoy the
Initially,
feeling of
or sometimes you
eating
feel.
after. When you eat something after you've been hungry for a
Yeah.
while, you're just like, oh yes, I'm so excited to eat this.
You love it, isn't it?
I get happy to eat food.
Food. Yeah, and I was reading about it, and it says that you have to feel this waves of hunger,
Yeah.
So that's a really good feeling. And
But I think when you get hungry, you feel, and if you go a little longer, you feel a little irritated.
Hungry.
Hangry.
hungry.
Angry, bless hungry.
Hungry.
Yeah. Hangry. So I think the days if I'm really hungry, I don't think I'd be able to work better.
Well, I'll tell a good story. A few years back, it was 6-7 years back. I was doing a charity work in Sri Lanka. So we walked from the north of Sri Lanka to south. It's about 28 days. We walked about 800 odd kilometers. And at one point, I was working with an Aboriginal guy. He was this this guy. Yeah, he's an Aboriginal person.
Yeah.
So I had a chance to walk with him like 20 odd kilometers.
Yeah.
So in this time, they had lots of food, drinks, and everything was freely available for these walkers. So I was drinking, eating, so fine, happy. And this guy, the whole way through, he did not eat anything. So at one point, I asked him, "Shall I get you some water?" No. "Shall I get you some milk?" No. I said, No. He kept walking.
Oh, wow.
Initially, he didn't talk to me much. They don't trust you very much. But this walk, opened him up. And after that, he said, "We don't eat like that, you guys." I said, "What do you eat then? What is your breakfast?" "No." "What is your lunch?" "No." "What is your dinner?" "No." "We eat when you feel hungry."
Oh.
So they eat when they feel hungry. They go hunting. If they get something, they come and eat. If they don't get, they just.
I think we listen to our tongues a lot more, and we eat to satisfy our cravings. That's the thing. And we don't eat when we're hungry. And I think it's important to understand what your body needs more than what your tongue needs.
Exactly. Tamini, okay, what didn't work for you with these diets?
Okay, so keto must have worked for Raisa, but it didn't work for me. The reason why it didn't work for me is because of the high levels of fat. And I think maybe my body didn't need that much of fat, and I don't think it was able to go in a state of ketosis to be able to burn all that fat, as you very well explained. So my body was not able to do that. I've tried Atkins when I was young. That's like you've got to eat high levels of protein and less fats and low carbs. But what happens is you again go and reach out for that lovely piece of bread with peanut butter. Then I've tried paleo. Paleo comes in different forms, really, but there are some forms of paleo that restricts you from having
So you had
dairy.
paleo. It is called paleontologist.
Yes.
It starts from
Dinosaurs.
Yes, that's how it is.
Dinosaur diet.
This diet is what our ancestors ate.
Correct, correct. So that
So
means
everything they ate, kurakan and what is it called?
millets.
Millets.
Yeah.
These are the things they
Millets and ragi, yes.
Ragi.
So you are dependent on very whole sort of carbs, like really good carbs for your body. But on the other hand, there are some paleo diets which restricts you from carbs.
Carbs.
There are some forms of paleo diets that restricts you from dairy. So it's like, what do I eat now? So don't go with that. It works for a lot of people, but there are some people. It doesn't work for me because.
But you did some Slimming World as well.
Yes.
What is that?
Okay, so it's now Slimming World. It's like, how do we explain? It's like a group of women. I mean, there are a lot of women who join the group, but even there are men, and a group of people who come to lose weight, and they encourage one another. So you go in for these sessions every week, go have yourself weighed in, and then you get an encouragement from everybody. Now, because everybody has the same goal of wanting to lose weight, wanting to be healthy. The nice thing about Slimming World was that I didn't have to restrict myself from what I was eating. And when I started the diet, I had people looking at me and they were like, are you on a diet because you're eating potatoes? I was eating potatoes. I was eating chocolates, but I was eating chocolates in a limited quantity. I was eating potatoes in a limited quantity.
What were you not allowed to eat in Slimming World?
High fats.
So high fats. Okay, let's go back quickly. We got 2-3 minutes left. And what worked for you? If you could
It
bullet
was the
point them.
Slimming World. Frankly speaking, it transpired to become a lifestyle choice. And I'm not endorsing Slimming World, trust me. I went for those sessions for probably 2 months. I gave it up, I went home and took that diet.
Okay, can you break down what you eat?
Okay, so I eat my rice, I eat pastas.
How much? Not too much? Or?
Not too much, no. I think if you look at a plate, now let's divide that into a pie chart kind of scenario. So if we divide our plate into 4 sections, one section is for rice, a very small section. Let's take 2 sections for vegetables and 1 section for protein. So that's really how it worked. Also, in terms of the sugars, you can take some sugars, but you've got to limit yourself. So I used to limit myself to 1 piece of chocolate after my lunch and 1 piece of chocolate after my dinner. And the best thing was getting those treat-sized chocolates, those bite-sized.
Small ones.
Yep, that worked. And then hiding it all away. So it was like training my mind.
Excellent. Few seconds. Any advice for the public? Raisa.
Find what works for you, because there's so much information, there are so many different diets. Something will work for you. You just have to keep the end goal in mind and keep what motivates you in mind.
Damini.
I think the more you limit yourself and you say that, well, I'm on a diet, it's not going to work. So just think that I am on this journey to becoming healthy, a lot more healthier. Trust me, it'll become a lifestyle choice and you will stick to it.
So you're telling them, make it a habit, make it a lifestyle. That is your lifestyle.
It will take 21 days, but trust me, you will live with it.
Thank you very much, guys. It's amazing to have you here, and your experience really worth, and you have given them exactly right. Thank you very much, Raisa Islam and Damini Lalchand, being in our show. And unfortunately, we have to finish this show, coming to the end. Thank you very much for being with us. If we have missed anything, we will try to post more stuff in the YouTube. Please watch there. And until we see you in a similar program, look after yourself. Thank you for being with us in this special Iron Health Talk with Dr. Akram. We'll see you there. Next program. Take care. Look after yourself.